Hello and welcome to this short video where I'm going to explain a little bit about the HNC business, what it means, what it stands for and how it's scheduled and so on. Give you a bit more information about it. So the HNC actually stands for Higher National Certificate. It is an SQA qualification. It's been around for a long time and it is something that we're doing in school. However, it is actually equivalent to first year at college, first year at university. It's a level 7 course, so it's equivalent to an advanced higher. So that is maybe just a bit more information about where it's pitched. And as a result of where it is pitched, it's actually highly regarded as a qualification in its own right. Some people will only ever get an HNC or only ever aspire to have an HNC because it is recognised and understood by employers and institutions alike. It is a qualification that's very beneficial to our pupils. It definitely does get them prepared for college or uni. It's very independent. You have to be self-directed, you have to be self-motivated, you have to be able to do research and do report writing, and all of that are skills that are recognised and desirable when you are moving on from school. Some of our previous pupils, and indeed this year's cohort as well, have been accepted into a direct entry into second year because a lot of institutions recognise that it is a very worthwhile thing to do and kind of where it is pitched at that level. A lot of other people also choose to do an HNC because they like the fact that it's a continuously assessed course. It's not something where you're learning theory for a whole academic year and then it all hinges on one day of assessment. It's something that's continuously assessed as we go through. There's a bit of teaching, there's a bit of assessing, there's teaching and there's assessing. So a lot of students actually like that. It kind of plays to their strengths where they're not having to kind of cram at the end of the day. They're kind of bringing their A game essentially to every one of our HNC lessons. So that leads me on to our HNC lessons. How is it going to be delivered? Well, the HNC itself is a certificate whereby the pupils need to gain all 12 credits in order to gain the overall HNC certificate itself. To get that overall award, a pupil needs to gain all 12 credits. Okay, 10 of these are mandatory. SQA tells us what ones are needed, and 2 of them are optional. I'll explain what they are in just a few slides' time, but we've decided on the optional ones based on what we think the pupils are interested in and also kind of playing to staff strengths and interests as well. Each one of these units is equivalent to 40 hours of study. So the overall HNC programme is 480 hours and we do that over a 2-year period. What we aim is for the pupils in 5th year to have achieved 6 out of the 12 credits and then in 6th year to get the remaining 6 credits. Okay, so it's 12 overall, 6 will be in 5th year, 6 will be in 6th year. It's quite intense. We quite often, when it's a single credit unit, we're normally running something for about 10 or 12 weeks. The pupils come for 5 classes per subject. Okay, so again, I'm just going to show you what that would look like. So in S5, we split the year obviously into 3 terms. In the summer term and winter term this year, the 5th years are doing management of people and organisations with me. That is a double credit unit, so that's actually like 80 hours worth of learning. So they have done that over those 2 terms. And after Christmas, we will be moving on to marketing. Okay, so that's a single credit unit, and we'll be moving on to marketing. In the other columns, that's 5 periods a week. In the other column with another teacher, we have 5 periods per week. They've got economics, which is a single credit unit, and we've got BFET, Business Fundamentals and Emerging Technologies. That will be happening after Christmas, and that is a double credit. Okay, so quite varied. That is after 5th year, you will have 6 credits out of the 12, and you move into 6th year. Again, it's split up into the 3 terms, but it's a little bit different in 6th year. We bring in a couple of subject specialists. We have our technology teacher delivers spreadsheets, and we have our English teacher that's delivering on communications. And now we have 2 teachers splitting the 5 periods. So 3 periods will be accounts, 2 periods will be spreadsheets. That's the whole of the year. And in the other column, it will be another couple of teachers sharing the 5 periods. 3 periods, they come to me for business planning. 2 periods, they go to the English department for communications. And you'll see something there at the end, which is the graded unit. That's starred. I'll tell you something about that in just a second. But that then again is our 6 credits that we gain in 6th year. Okay, so far all of these units are mandatory. The 2 non-mandatory units here are the spreadsheets. That's what we have chosen. This is, I think, an essential subject for anybody wanting to get on in life. And we have business planning, again, very, very useful for anyone that is thinking of having any sort of innovation, any sort of idea. Again, just understanding how all of this learning comes together. So every other unit is mandatory, and the ones that we have picked to deliver to our pupils are spreadsheets and business planning. But I'll talk to you a wee bit more about the graded unit. The graded unit is actually a fabulous unit. It's probably the thing that people get most hung up on, and that's because you may have experienced this already, whereby if you're looking at entry requirements at college or university, or even indeed workplaces or apprenticeships, they will be saying something about what the graded unit is. What grade did you get in the graded unit? A lot of hype goes on this. It's the only unit, it's the only one of those entire 12 credits that gets a grade. Everything else in economics is a pass or a fail. Sorry, everything else in HNC is a pass or a fail. The graded unit is the only thing that's graded. So the purpose of it is actually to really test the pupils. It's done through a 3-hour exam, and it's case study based, and it draws upon the knowledge of 5 of our compulsory mandatory units. We've got MPO, marketing, economics, BFET, and accounts. And what I mean by it being quite a nice unit is there's almost no wrong answer. So it really does play to a pupil's interest and strength. So you might get a case study about a failing company, and you have to become a problem solver. Now, you might come at that from an MPO point of view. It might be something to do with employee performance or employee motivation. You recognise that's the problem and you want to solve it that way. You might see it as a marketing problem. Sales have dipped because you're not doing your marketing effectively enough. You might recognise that the business is failing because they're not managing their cash flow, and it could be something to do with accounting. Now, all of these are 3 completely different solutions, but solving the problem. And really we find that if a pupil can develop their answer in sufficient detail, it's almost like anything can be right. Okay, so it's quite an interesting subject because it does play on their strengths. What I should have said probably by this point is every unit that we assess, we kind of park it and we move on to the next unit. Those units, if passed, are on the SQA certificate and they remain there. They only get turned into the entire HNC if all 12 credits have been achieved, but they will remain there regardless. And we only revisit them when we have to do so in the graded unit towards the end of 6th year. Okay, so we've got an entire HNC based on 12 credits, but a lot of the focus ends up on this graded unit because indeed that's how people are judging, that's how people are kind of making their differentiation and what universities are probably looking for. So to summarise, the HNC programme is a difficult programme, but it is actually really rewarding, particularly for those pupils that like to work at a nice steady pace, that are bringing their A game all the time, just working hard but not stressed, just working hard all the time, plugging away. A slightly more difficult programme for people of the personality that may choose to coast and then cram for an exam. It's probably not going to play to the strengths of those particular pupils. The pupils can expect to be assessed every couple of weeks. Once assessed, the units are recorded as passed and then we move on. And the only units that are revisited are those that are revisited and assessed in the graded unit. Okay, so hopefully that does give you a little bit more information. I hope it's given you a bit more information about the kind of rationale of why we've picked it and actually the mechanics of how it all comes together. Okay, thank you.